Hey, everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Robert Kinsler.
And the year is coming to a close. We're saying goodbye to 2022 and saying hello to 2023. We are going to talk about our top reissues for 2022. And by the way, there's going to be a companion video as well, which will be our top new release studio albums for 2022. So look for that video if you haven't seen that one yet. Robert, reissues, as always. There was quite a lot of them, wasn't there?
There was. The last few years, TJ, we've had some exciting reissues that we love. I have to say that it is burning a hole in my wallet nowadays. There was many reissues that I want to pick up, and I just truly did not feel I could afford them. I'm hoping maybe to catch up and get them at a later date. But I don't know if that's your experience as well.
Yeah, there's only so much money and there's only so much time as well. And of course, here in the United States, everything's gotten more expensive and we're dealing with, we're dealing with that with the economy and all that. Yeah, so you can only do so much sometimes.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, and I've said this in previous videos, I've gotten a lot of comments from people when discussing like the Revolver, reissue that came out this year and others where people say, these things are so expensive, I can't afford them. And of course, you always have to take care of your necessities first before you think about getting stuff like this. But one thing I will always say is if you're willing to wait a little bit, these things, they tend to go down in price. And a year later, you can get them for a lot less. There are reissues that are on this list that, like I said, we'll probably see them next year a bit lower. Reissues from last year, like the Let It Be box set, gone down in price dramatically. And that's the time to try to snatch them up. If you feel like, you can't afford them now, just be patient. So
exactly, because like you're saying, TJ, good music, whether it's Let It Be or Revolver or maybe some of the other things I'm looking at, like the reissue of Scarecrow. I haven't picked it up yet from John Cougar Mellencamp. I really want that one, but I'm just going to wait a little bit to see maybe if it gets a little more affordable for me. But
yeah.
You're dead on with what you're saying.
I've meant to get that Joni Mitchell set. And the CD one was very affordable, actually, but I just haven't had time, to get to that one yet. And I will eventually soon. I hopefully will get to it soon. But yeah, some of these you just have to wait on. And there have been some that I have waited on and gotten them later because they were I couldn't justify the price at that time yet. But with all that said, let's go ahead. We're going to talk about our favorite reissues for 2022. I'm going to start with some honorary mentions. First, I want to give honorary mention to the David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, Half Speed Master on vinyl. This was a reissue of the 2012 40th anniversary remaster, but this time released on vinyl and as a Half Speed Master in 2022. Along those same lines, I want to give a mention to Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick, the Steven Wilson remix. Again, this was originally released in 2012, but here in 2022, released as an LP, as a Half Speed Master. It had been released on LP, but not as a Half Speed Master. And so I missed it the first time around. So glad to get it now. So I appreciate that. Lastly, honorary mention to The Doors' LA Woman 50th anniversary super deluxe set. Arrived in late 2021 at the end of the year. So a lot of that I didn't get to really digest until 2022. I made some videos on it. I think some of those videos may have come out right around the end or at the beginning of the next year. And that's a good example of one that when it was released last year, it was about $78 or so. Now it's about roughly in the neighborhood of around $52, $54 in some places. So if you're willing to wait, these things will go down in price. Anyways, though, those are my honorary mentions. So I'm going to discuss my top 3 reissues for 2022. Feel free to interject if you want to, Robert, if you've heard any of these before. First of all, Harvest 50th anniversary super deluxe edition. This time, Neil Young got it right. And he released a worthy box set for one of his most well-known, most classic albums, Harvest. He released a CD and LP format versions that all featured the same exact material. I picked up the CD version, which was infinitely more affordable than its LP version. This featured the 2009 remaster of the album, which I didn't previously own. I had an older CD from the 80s, so that was an upgrade for me right there. It included a Harvest Outtakes EP, BBC in Concert 1971 on CD or LP, depending on the version you got. And it featured 2 DVDs, one featuring the video version of the 1971 BBC concert, which is a great concert, acoustic, just him there with his acoustic guitar and harmonica, and the other featuring a 2-hour documentary film entitled Harvest Time and a nice hardbound book featuring photos and an essay detailing the making of the album. So I did talk about this, of course, in more detail on a previous video if you want more information, so I won't go on too much further, but really was glad to see this. I'm really hoping he will do something like this for Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. And I will never stop harping on the anniversary release of After the Gold Rush from last year. Please, Neil, do a retake on that one. Please do it right this time. Anyways, okay, I know I harp on that a lot. Now,
hey, TJ, I want to say I haven't picked this up yet, but the record label in this particular situation did send me the album digitally, including the documentaries and all the materials, and I do love it. And this is this is one of those releases I do plan to pick it up. You know, this is one of my all-time favorite albums from Neil Young. It's a bona fide masterpiece, and I'm so glad to see it on your list.
You know, for most people, most rock fans, it's a no-brainer, and for people of our generation, that one's a no-brainer. Absolutely,
exactly.
And so is the next one, the Madman Across the Water from Elton John, 50th anniversary, super deluxe edition. There were, of course, 2 CD editions as well. There was an LP release as well, but the super deluxe set, which is what I picked up, this is, of course, is from that classic period in the 70s, where it seemed like almost every album that Elton John released in the 70s was a revelation. And Madman Across the Water was not that well received by critics when it first came out, but it's now considered to be one of his seminal albums. And this was a 4-disc set, which featured the 2005 remaster on the first disc with 5 bonus tracks, a second disc with 12 tracks of piano demos. Literally, you have the entire album and then some as demos on that one. Disc 3, a BBC Sounds for Saturday live concert performance from 1972. This is just the audio, but there's also a Blu-ray featuring the entire album in a 5.1 mix, the video performance for the BBC Sounds of Saturday 1972 concert. And that Blu-ray concert is astounding. The video quality is so perfect. It's like it was made yesterday. And the audio quality is so fantastic. And that to me was the real prize jewel of that set. I loved it all, but that was the real prize jewel, was that concert. Also another TV appearance on another British show called Old Grey Whistle Test, which featured a few quick live performances, just 2 short live performances, and an interview with Elton John. And also, of course, a hardcover book with photos and memorabilia and interviews that detailed the making of the album. Again, I went for the CD edition of this. I also did pick up the LP version that VMP actually released on LP, which was great because I missed it the first time around. And it's been a very hard remaster to get on LP. So grateful they re-released that. But yeah, Madman Across the Water. There are so many favorite albums from this period, and this is one of them. And I'm looking forward to more. Next on my list is Pink Floyd, the 2018 remix. This is the long-awaited 2018 remix. It finally arrives. And it proves it was worth the wait. Of course, there's all the drama as to why it didn't come out to 2022, but I won't get into that. The response for this remix, now that we've all had a chance to hear it, has been absolutely overwhelming. It has mostly been extremely positive. Most people are saying the difference is like night and day. And I have to agree. This was an amazing remix that overall seems to have exceeded fan expectations. And it was made available on LP, CD, and Blu-ray. The deluxe box set for some fans was a disappointment, and I will include myself with it, since it only featured the remix on LP, CD, Blu-ray, and DVD. You're basically getting the same album, just in different formats. I guess the Blu-ray DVD being the main difference in that you also got with that a 5.1 version of the remix and the original 1971 stereo mixes as bonuses. That would be the only bonus contents not offered in the separate releases, unless you bought the Blu-ray separately. No live material, no session tracks. There was a booklet, rather a nice 32-page booklet, but it was photos only, no text. Although there was an attempt to have a new set of liner notes included, and that was part of the reason why this album got delayed, was some of the pissing back and forth about those liner notes, which ended up, you can still read them. They're on Roger Waters' website if you want to just read the liner notes that were supposed to be on this set. But the remix alone, just because of how good it is, it makes my list. So those are my top 3 minus 1, which we'll discuss in a moment. But let's move on to yours, Robert, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, sounds good, TJ, and I definitely need to hear that Pink Floyd remix. That sounds pretty phenomenal. I need to do that. If not this year, maybe in early 2023.
Absolutely.
I know you listed some honorable mentions, so before I get to my principal 3 reissues I'm going to talk about, I do want to mention the Kinks that came out with it's a reissue of Muswell Hillbillies and Everybody's in Showbiz, Everybody's a Star. This very well may have made my final list, but I probably made the mistake in retrospect. I bought the 2 CD version, not the 4 CD version, which had much more bonus material, but again, gets back to the whole thing about costs. So I do have really been enjoying that, and actually I'm going to be working up a review on that for my next regular weekly column. So just want to mention that I'm really impressed by that. Now I'm like I said, regretting I didn't get the more expanded deluxe edition.
That doesn't mean you can't get it later. You know,
exactly.
Like you can afford it. Doesn't mean you can't get it later.
Right, exactly.
But, yeah, I do want to mention, though, since you brought it up, your blog, it's called Rock and Roll Truth, but it can be found at musicworthbuying.com because you cover a lot of stuff that we can't get to on this channel. So just want to give a little shout out on that right now. Check out Robert's blog for all the music CDs and music DVDs and Blu-rays that he reviews on musicworthbuying.com. Anyways,
just a quick note, not only like album reviews or music DVDs or Blu-ray reviews, but also, some important media releases. So in other words, announcements about
upcoming releases. Yeah,
exactly. And also concert reviews. Like, for example, last night I saw Walter Trout in concert. So after we're done shooting this today, I'll be working up my review of that and getting that posted this week. So yeah, keeps me busy. Definitely, TJ.
Definitely does. So yeah, check that out. But anyways, go ahead. Let me please continue.
Getting to my list, the first reissue I'm going to talk about is the Rolling Stones Licked Live in NYC. And this release was originally released back in 2003 as an HBO special and as part of the 4 Flicks package. But now that concert has been fully restored and remastered with bonus material that shines a light on the legendary band's 40th anniversary tour. As we know, they're 60 plus years into their career now, but this, like we said, was back in 2003. And that tour included 117 shows and was noteworthy for including the group's first ever concert in Hong Kong. So, but this particular title captures the Rolling Stones Madison Square Garden show that was staged back in January of 2003. And among the great versions it has is, a great version of Start Me Up, the melodic Mick Jagger track, Don't Stop, a great version of Happy featuring Keith Richards on lead vocals. And I have to say that the version of Gimme Shelter with Lisa Fischer trading vocals with Mick Jagger is just phenomenal. And there's even a version of Honky Tonk Woman where they had guest Sheryl Crow with them. So just a great release, and just really want to highlight that as first one of my reissues.
I'm always wishing I could keep up with all these video concerts that you get to watch, that you review, and there just doesn't seem to be enough time in the day. But yeah, I haven't seen this one, but I wish I could. Hopefully I will.
Yeah, no, I hope you get to. And the next reissue is kind of interesting. It is the Beach Boys, and it's called Sounds of Summer. So you might be saying, wait, haven't we got best of collections from the Beach Boys. Well, back in 2003, a 2 CD which was titled Sounds of Summer, the very best of the Beach Boys, was an immediate commercial success and it remained actually on the charts for more than 100 weeks and
Wow.
earned 4-time platinum certification. So pretty impressive. Fast forward to the Beach Boys, 60th anniversary celebration, TJ.
Yeah.
And now that 30-track collection has been expanded to be a total of 80 tracks. And it includes 26 new mixes, 2 first-time stereo mixes, as well as 24 new and improved stereo mixes. And I have to say that, I saw the Beach Boys as part of their 60th anniversary tour this year. So I picked up this album kind of just to get ready for that concert experience. And I just found myself falling in love with the Beach Boys again, and especially just beyond their most best known hits. Everybody knows Surfin' Safari, Don't Worry Baby, In My Room, God Only Knows. But this collection digs a little bit deeper. So if you're a casual fan, and go, I know those hits, but maybe I want to hear more, this is a great place to go, and it just sounds fantastic.
It sounds like a really good collection for anybody that wants to just have a good, solid overview of the band and the legacy that they've left behind with their music. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't mention the 6 CD or 5 LP plus 7-inch collection of the Beach Boys' Sail on Sailor collection, which features the 1972 albums Carl and the Passions, and Carl and the Passions So Tough and Holland. I always get the title of that first one wrong because it's a long one. But this is a continuation of a series they've been doing where they've been highlighting some of the more overlooked albums from the 70s that maybe have been overlooked, giving them a remaster, including session tracks. And this is one that I didn't get to, go out and get or listen to. But from everything I've heard, it's a very good set. And as long as we're bringing up the Beach Boys, I just felt I should mention that.
Yeah, and that's one that I'm, again, kind of like the previously mentioned Mellencamp title. I'm hoping I can get that one as well, because it does sound fantastic. And
Absolutely.
it's, like you're saying, an under-the-radar period for the band.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the next one, and I have it here, maybe we'll show it on the screen as well, but it's the 40th anniversary deluxe reissue of Rush's Moving Pictures. Now, Moving Pictures is Rush's definitely best known album. It was released back in 1981. What I have is the 3-disc version featuring the 2015 remaster of the original album, which is available for the first time on audio CD, and the complete unreleased Toronto concert from March 25th, 1981. Disc 1 features stellar versions of many of the band's most beloved hits. So that includes Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, and I always butcher that, YYZ and Limelight. I mean, these are well known to Rush fans.
Oh, yeah.
The audio quality of the historic concert, I have to say, is just fantastic on here, and just really nice to have this.
Cool. So those are our top 3 reissues, but we would be remiss if we didn't at least briefly talk about a particular British band's reissue of what many fans call one of their best albums. And of course, we're talking about the Beatles, and we're talking about the Revolver album. And I'm sure there were people watching this video thinking, wait a minute, they both got Revolver backdrops. Are they going to bring this one up in their top 3? And that's because we feel that the Revolver reissue is just a step above.
Yeah.
The top 3. If there was a number above number 1, it would go there.
Right.
But no, honestly, what happened is we were both mentioning how this made the top of our list for 2022. And I'm sure it made a lot of people's top lists for this.
Oh,
year.
yeah.
I'm sure it did.
I have to say, TJ, that the Revolver Special Edition, it just simply showcases just how brilliant John, Paul, George, and Ringo were, along with the efforts of George Martin and also Jeff Emmerich. They were creating one of the greatest recordings of the 20th century, and they did it over the course of a couple months. I can remember back when I was, when I first started reviewing albums, I would look, and I don't want to target anybody because some
Yeah.
artists are very prolific, but let's say it had been 4 or 5 years since a modern band had released an album, you'd get the album and you go, the Beatles were doing these brilliant masterworks, one after another. They were, and these, I mean, it blows
Yeah.
your mind when you go back and re-listen to Revolver, just how amazing and groundbreaking the Beatles, were.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, I've done a couple videos. I want to let you talk because I've done a couple of videos about this already. You and I did a video where we discussed the session tracks. Every single one of these, reissues, these deluxe editions, super deluxe editions, have been phenomenal. And again, if you can't afford them, wait. But there have also been single CD editions, double CD editions, which just have highlights of the session tracks. Every single one of these reissues have been really well put together. I was looking, because I picked up the vinyl version this time versus the CD version, I bought the 2 CD set of the reissue so that I could have it on CD. And I noticed that it was still packaged really nicely. It came with a really hefty little booklet for a 2 CD edition. Not as much as the hardcover book, that I got with my Super Deluxe, but still a nice sizable booklet. And you got a good overview of the session tracks, and you got the remix of the new remixes of the singles Rain and Paperback Writer as well. Even those versions are really nicely done. And so there's a lot of choices with them if you can't afford the giant Super Deluxe sets. But yeah, they've always been really well done. Everyone has been stellar. I can't say a bad word about any of the previous ones. And I'm excited for the next one, which I hear is going to be Revolver. Not Revolver, I'm sorry, Rubber Soul. Sorry.
Exactly.
We'll start with an R.
Exactly. Yeah, another masterwork from the Beatles that is beloved. It's funny, TJ. I mean, and I know both of us, in addition to both being huge Beatles fans, and we know so many, but people go around and around. What's your favorite? Is it Let It Be? Is it Abbey Road? Is it Rubber Soul? All these are phenomenal, amazing albums. Like we talked about Neil Young and Harvest. It's like the Beatles were basically recording their masterwork and upping with each album. They were upping what they were doing, or at least exploring new ground. And we're so fortunate to be around today while Giles Martin is kind of doing these new mixes and just giving us all this magic.
Yeah, and that we're getting all these session tracks. I shouldn't say unheard because many of them were available. Some of them were available as bootlegs, but I've never collected bootlegs. I know you never have either. I have to wonder why that is.
Yeah,
but never got into bootlegs.
I have to admit, TJ, I did. I used to go to some of the Beatles conventions like that they had, and but my issue with them was that they were so high priced.
Yeah.
And I think I bought a couple of them. The sound quality wasn't very good. And you go, I just felt like I was being ripped off, and you're always hoping for the day maybe that they'll be officially released. And then fortunately for us, that the Beatles have been supportive and have started doing that.
That day has come, and we're getting them every year. And they're always real nice treasure troves of outtakes and session tracks. Yeah. And so wonderful stuff. But yeah, so there it is. Those are our top reissues for 2022. And like we said before, we don't have the wallets to be able to get everything. We couldn't necessarily get to everything this year, but we hope to get to there's a lot of stuff out there that we want to get to later. I want to pick up that Joni Mitchell set. I really do. I want to explore her catalog deeper. She's an artist whom I have heard a couple albums from, but I've never explored her catalog in a deep way. And I feel a real need that I really want to know more about her music. And so I'm hoping I'll get to that in 2023. But share with us your top reissues for 2022. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to limit yourself to 3. We just didn't want this video to go on forever. But you can name as many as you want. Please do. And feel free to opine and tell us what you think of our picks and tell us about yours. We always love reading your comments. I read every single one. I'm pretty sure Robert does too, though I've never asked him that. There you go. So there it is. He reads them all too. Can't comment on every single one, but definitely read them all. And so with that, Robert, first of all, let me say thank you.
Hey, thank you, TJ.
Yeah.
Hey, glad to join you.
Yeah. We're going to do more videos. We have more videos planned for 2023. And real quick, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. Those are all the YouTube things you need to do. And a big thank you to the patron supporters who are helping to help us make more videos. Patron supporters do get exclusive weekly videos not available here on the channel, and they get their names in the credits. But mostly, thank you for watching. If you can't be a patron supporter, we understand. Just click like. Let these videos play to the end and share them with anyone you think might be interested. So with that, Robert, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Merry.
You too, TJ.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. And happy holidays to all of you out there. And looking forward to 2023. We'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.